driving, I'm listening to some podcasts, and I was coming across some people having a conversation that started to enact some thoughts, of course, rumbling around in my mind, and I wanted to speak on them because if I lost my train of thought, I would regret not having spoken it aloud, because lately the creative flow that's been coming through has been mostly through thoughts, and I haven't dedicated myself enough to start writing or jotting them down like I have been telling myself I want to do. I've been so much in a headspace that there's clutter and distractions and full of not starting that has become so anxiety filled, and it's created a block, ultimately putting me in a place of restlessness, again, anxiety, but it's mostly brought on a pressure that I've built on my own for no reason. There has been no reason for this unknown or unpurposeful pressure, because I just need to start. And the thing about starting is everything becomes easy after that. The build-up that I myself have done for so long just starts to eat away at you, and you have to be the one to tell yourself enough is enough, or it's going to continue. And allowing it continue is obviously doing yourself a disservice. You're doing yourself this disservice because the world right now is so desperately crying out for creative minds, for helping hands, but mostly it's wanting the community to be this creative world and together to be of helping hands. If you're not sharing your message, if you aren't doing the work, if you aren't speaking up for yourself and putting it out there, you're doing a disservice to the rest of the world. When I say you, I'm also in reference to myself, but mostly because you and I are all in the same. You and I are one and the same in that we share a collective consciousness. If I balled up every single thought that I ever had that I thought was a potential for greatness, the world would never see that greatness, because it gets transmuted into a thought form. And if it's not spoken aloud, that's all it'll ever be, is a thought form. And who's to say that the next person that may get the same thought form, I've had that balled up energy, they may feel that same energy to not want to share, and it's a thought form for them as well, and then so on and so forth to the next person, to the next, to the next. I think the relief and release comes after even doing what I'm doing now, even if this doesn't get shared, even if I'm talking to myself on a cross-country road trip. The important thing is I'm saying it aloud. The important thing is that I'm saying it aloud. It is the intent behind what I'm doing, what I'm focusing on, what I'm creating right now in this moment. The birth of an idea can only blossom when it is represented outside of your mind. great things nonetheless can be created within the mind, but to have a solid functioning idea that has meaning can only have meaning outside of your mind. Which brings me to the point of there are so many of us right now in this moment as well, in this present time, in this seemingly unconventional, cyclical realm of creativity that I am no less or no more than my neighbor or my partner or my parents if we are all silent, still, in that we're not active in seeking transmutation for the people to follow, for who are to follow within our footsteps. How am I supposed to grow and evolve if I'm only resuming a constant thought form that doesn't get transmuted or transmitted into the collective? And I had already forgotten the main point I was getting at, and it'll come to me, but again, it's just a disservice to the rest of the collective if it only stays that thought form. What I would really like to mention for intention, while my brain is still trying to ponder the main topic of conversation to why I even recorded this, I'd like to talk about intention and how intent is if not the most important secret key of magic. And magic isn't this out there taboo woo-woo topic. Magic is real. Magic is life. Magic is living. You're living it every day. And to say that a breath of life is not magic is just inconsistent with life itself. Every day we wake up. We, at least if it's your time, of course. But what I'm saying is, you had gone to bed the night before with intent that you would wake up the next day. I just want that to sink in for you real quick. How magical is that? You woke up. You created that reality for yourself because it was an undoubted belief that you would have another breath when the sun would rise the next day. If you can imagine here for a moment, we'll give you some homework, that you were in a space of that same reality, that you would have the opportunity to create a breath of life with anything that you wanted and anything that you could create. It would be just as simple as going to sleep with the intent that you would wake up the next day. As simple as that. As simple as that. if we all started living that reality, which is a reality if you choose it to be, if you call it out, if you call it in, rather, it can be just as simple as that. There's so much doubt within ourselves that we blame others for our problems because that seems more logical than saying that we created a reality for ourselves that we woke up the next day. Because that would be silly. Nobody could tell you that you did that on your own, could they? But what if you could? What if you could tell yourself that? What if you started to, let's just call it imagination? What if you started to imagine that for yourself, if that were actually true? How many other things could you create if you didn't have that doubt that somebody else was judging you for what you believed in? I am not a perfectionist on this topic, as I haven't perfectionized, I guess is what I'm trying to say, that undoubt within myself. I haven't flipped that situation to a point that I am very well versed in it. However, I recognize that it's there, and I use intent every single day. That I can say is something I believe in. That I can say I know to be my truth. That I can say I am confident that I know how to use magic, that I am magic within myself. And the single most thing that I crave every day, that I desire to remain in my truth within every day, is that of intent. And that intent gets me where I'm supposed to be by which of means of the universe, God, death, creation, wherever I'm supposed to be is an intent that I recognize I am wherever I'm supposed to be, and my intent is that, just that. I am guided not only by the spirit of all of energy, whatever that resides in. That could be the energy of the car that I drive that's getting me from point A to point B safely, or it could be the dreams that I dream that spirit reigns over, that is directing me for a hidden message to my subconscious to remind me of what I'm supposed to know, and maybe not in waking life that I can comprehend to every extent. But the intent that I have with that is that there is magic in everything that is creation. And I am open to receiving whatever that magic is. And if it's a beautiful message in a dream that I had last night to remind me that I need to stay focused on my path and remind me to put faith in the universe, because I'm too caught up and worried in my head about who might judge me if I believe in faith and I believe in the simple rules and laws of intention. I feel confident in my duty as a human being this lifetime, as a reincarnated light source, frequency of God energy, and that, rather, I got sidetracked in my head, that I am here to bring together the collective in a way that we can have faith in each other again, have faith in the universe again. These are not new topics, these are not new ideas, these are not foreign concepts to human creation, that we serve a purpose for the greatest good of all. Not just the human race, not just Mother Earth creation, but universal plan. And we don't have to know what that plan is. That's not the point that we're here. We're here to learn love. We're here to spread that compassion to others so that we can be the best versions of ourselves, and not in any competitive, conceited, malicious manner to get on top of the food chain, or to build the ladder, or to be in the top tier of the pyramid. That's not the idea. The idea is to help, again, thy neighbor, thy brother, thy sister, to all work together. I was also listening to another podcast today, and this beautiful soul that was talking about working with bees and being a bee collector, or I'm gonna jar that up so bad. I don't remember what you call a bee. It's crossing my mind right now and I cannot think about it, so forgive me for anybody that knows what I'm speaking of. But she works with bees, and an unwavering faith that the hive of the bees have one job. Mostly each of them have their one job, but they have faith in the bigger picture of the collective, of their hive, of their tribe, basically, that they're there to supply for one another, each other, and they don't question that. They're just being bees. That's just who they are. That's just what they do. And they're all in it together. They're all in it together to create a sustainable life in order for them all to survive. There's so much to say about the honeybee in particular, and that was just a beautiful representation of where we need to be. We could learn so much from that of a bee hive, home. It's their home. They protect their home at all costs. And when their home doesn't work, they all abandon it to find and create a better home for themselves so they can survive. It's not about finding the biggest tree to impress their queen. It's finding the safest, most comfortable area that they can produce for their children, their offspring, their queen, each other. There's a purpose. There's a purpose and a desire to create. And I think this is a beautiful moment to tie back into the first thing that I was saying, and that the creation we want to provide doesn't have to be that of an artist or an author or somebody who creates things with their hands, like beautiful pottery. It could be as simple as somebody wanting to speak to a loved one about the conditions they're living in order to help them, in order for them to share themselves to get somebody else to be a better version of themselves. That's beautiful creation. That's a really easy, I shouldn't say easy, sometimes easy, depending on which family members you talk to, a beautiful way to create. And if you were seeing somebody from a distance that you cared about, living in turmoil, stressed about every other situation they live through every day, and you were sitting back and watching that, wouldn't it be beneficial if you knew in that moment, possibly a little bit more knowledge than they did, in that you can see that they need help, and you have the select beautiful message for them in order for them to get out of a hole so that they can rise above, and maybe next time they see you in a hole, that they can come and help you because they would have more knowledge at that moment, to see you struggling, to see you want to succeed again, to lift you up, and then so on and so forth. It wouldn't be successful if you sat back and let a loved one of yours sit in that fear-driven reality, telling themselves that they're not worthy or they're not good enough, and they have the right to doubt themselves because everyone would think they're crazy, that they had intent to wake up the next morning, and that's what happened. It's a beautiful gift to have creation with words, with writing, with a look in your eye of compassion to the neighbor walking down the street, saying a gentle hello with a smile to somebody in the grocery store in line in front of you. All of what we are has always been creation. However, everything is never as it seems. Nothing and everything is never as it seems. Remember that we started from creation. No matter what your belief is, you know that to be true. Let that root you. Let that bring you to a present moment the next time you are in doubt, the next time you have fear or worry, or you're suffering from intense anxiety or negative stress. Let that sink through your being and soak that message in. Whatever message you received from that, let that sink in, let that soak in your being, and then move forward into creation, whatever that is for you. And you will know in that moment what that is for you. It might not even always be the same thing. If you have a passion and you know your passion to be true, it could probably be the same thing every time. And that's okay too. The point of it is you're creating, you are being, doing, and living life itself. As long as it is through love and compassion, I think through the points that I have mentioned here, all I can say is I'm grateful every day. And what I'm grateful for is everything that I am and everything that you are. Because together as a collective, we are life itself, and I am so grateful for life. I'd like to invite you to be grateful for life as well. So that means being grateful that you have a heart to feel and to give and to love. And I'm just beyond thankful every day that I get another opportunity to share that with anyone and everyone. Sometimes it's not very easy because we are still very human. But one thing I will always know in my truth is that I am made up of love from intent, and I will also live with intent. To that I say, blessings are always there, and they're always with you, and I am sending them with you now and forever. And for now, I'm just going to end this here. So I love you. I love you. I love myself. And I love you. I'll talk to you soon.